And just like that, we are back with chapter 97 of the universe according to Mugsy. Today is Monday, January 12th, 2026. I am Mugsy, the creator, the interdimensional time-traveling waiter, back from the past and the very distant future, here for one moment, the only time that exists, the now, so that we can have a discussion about the current events and how those current events are a product of the culture which you actually have some control over. Your own individual consciousness. Guys, it has been such an unbelievable start to the year already. The year of the fire horse is what I hear from my astrologer friends, but it doesn't matter. I can already feel the magic. You've probably already seen it. I bet you tuned into that Chicago Bears Green Bay game last week, and if you don't believe that that is the magic that the NFL is absolutely harnessing through you and your electromagnetic energy that is passing through your body and all the attention that you give to whatever it is that you're watching, which is why I appreciate you so much for tuning in to this broadcast, which I guarantee will entertain you more than 99% of the other things out there, the 1% of the things that I'm also watching that are pretty damn entertaining, guys. It feels so good. It feels so good to have the past 2, 3, 4 years building this podcast, where it's at, the universe according to Mugsy, where it can now hold its own weight in the world, propelling itself forward with its own gravity. That's energy that we poured into it and we created, not just me, you and me. All of my fans out there. I'm talking to my girl, Kristen, the one that runs up, that's always telling me all the cool things that I talked about on my podcast. She was 100% of the female listenership that we had for quite some time there. But now we've reached new markets and new audiences, and I think a lot of that is the conversations we've been having with others out there. Started way back with my girl Morfit, and we met her on Instagram after watching the Patrick Bet-David program, and how we agreed that a certain percent of our brethren that we walk around with, humanity as we call them each day, is actually a bunch of zombies. And what percentage of the population is actually zombies, and which percent of it is actually people that are awake and aware and stumbling about the world? And that was the first conversation we had, chapter 13, so long ago here on this program. And it took us until chapter 62 before I could convince my buddy Patrick the waiter to come on here and just talk about the energy in the restaurant. And thank God we did that, because after we talked to Caleb, brought him in that same restaurant, he came in and he started talking about aliens and all the crazy physics and all the scientists that he talked to that enable us to start taking a look at, maybe there are some experiments we could do, maybe just ourselves. Maybe we could do it right here on this podcast and start discovering some ways that we can interact with the information in the reality as it's moving about around us in what we call the ether, and all of this plasma and electric field that we can touch and interact with. It's what we did on Instagram, right? It's how that we figured out how to get 15,000 people to send one reel around to each other. It just depends on what you're talking about and who you're talking about it with. We started poking these algorithms and they started poking back. And the funny thing is, now they're paying attention to us. Because after all of my friends inside the Village Tavern in Salem, Massachusetts, the restaurant that I am a waiter in, started coming on industry night, and we started having some fun conversations, started digging into some of the craziness that goes on right in front of our eyeballs every day. That's how we convinced my girl, Mary Todd, to tell us about the cults that she was in and all the crazy interactions she's having on this very podcast. And then we brought in some more people. My girl, Nicole Vernon, we had an unbelievable conversation at her family farm, who she talked to us about the energy that she goes to prepare each day by growing the chicken, poultry farm, and all the crazy things that she grows on her farm that she sells to you guys, that you put inside your body as an environment to fuel you and in all the things that you're creating out there in the world. It's been so unbelievably lucky this year, and we have so much more coming forward. If I could tell you about the live shows that we got, all the different guests that we have coming on, but we don't have time for that now. What we have to do is talk about all the things that have been going on since the last time that we touched base. It's been like a month since I've come here one-on-one and had this conversation with you. I promise we will find a way to make the schedule a little more rigorous so that we can have these discussions maybe on a more set schedule, easier for you guys to tune into. But sometimes you just got to go with the energy and the momentum and where it takes you. And right now, that is what we are doing. We are riding a wave of all of you and the viewers and your eyeballs out there telling us the conversations that you want to see us having, touching on some of the topics that you want to see us exploring, whether they are the current events of the things that are going on in the world, like the wars that we're getting into and all of that. Or if you want to talk about more of the cultural things and some of the insights that some of the people out there are discussing, like my friends Walter Kern and Matt Taibbi, or you want to talk about Joe Rogan and some of the guys that he's having on the program. But ultimately, that is to drive you towards this point of consciousness where you understand your own reality, your power to create the magic that I'm talking about that you harness using your own heart-mind coherence that you can tap into, utilizing some of the tactics and strategies from breathing exercises to time in nature, all of the things that we've explored with some of the conversations we've discussed, whether they're my friend Pamela Erlin's conversations, talking to channeling energy that comes in. Who knows how it enters our space, but it provides us wisdom that we need for the things that are coming up. Or whether we're just talking about the conversation that we had with Michael B. Beckwith and teaching us about the 4 stages of victimhood evolution so that we may pull ourselves out of that victimhood nature that many of us fall into, myself included. Don't think that I have it any easier than you. I get hit with the same energetic stumbling blocks. The difference is I now am equipped with the tools to move myself along that process a hell of a lot quicker than I used to be able to do when my energy was blocked. Anyone that knows me in the real world and has interacted with me over the past 2 decades will be able to understand the things that I'm talking about. You don't have to do that. You don't have to know me. You can tune in to this podcast where we've demonstrated these things over the past 96 chapters. We've talked about them all. We've unwrapped them and we've explored them. Anything from quantum mechanics and the difference between quantum mechanics and quantum physics and the Newtonian perspective to the economy and your interaction with money and energy and the role that it plays in your life and the power that you give it to magic and walking around in the streets of Salem and understanding all the spiritual energy that is there and how to harness it and utilize it for your own good or bad. If that's what you're going to do, I'm not here to judge you. If you're here to explore your darkness, that's your own God-given divine right by you being here on planet Earth, getting a chance to walk around in this reality and stumble into people. I'm not afraid of people that want to explore their darkness. I'm afraid of people that tell me they don't have any. That's the ones that you really need to be skeptical of. You'll see these things playing out around you in real time. If you've ever gone into my favorite place to go to a deli counter, that is the Market Basket in Middleton, Massachusetts. Those guys are exploring the darkness for some reason. Every day when they wake up in the morning, they put on their little hairnet and their white coat and they're going to slice cheese and meat for people. And they say, today, I'm going to do the least work possible that a human can do. And I travel far. That's not the closest Market Basket to me. There's got to be 1, 2 closer to me. But I go there because I want to see these people creating this darkness. I love watching it. All right? I love just witnessing what's going on. When you see someone order a half a pound of American cheese, sliced whatever way that you want to slice it, and it takes them 45 minutes to walk, right? And I'm not talking about, guys, hey, I'm a human being. If this is an older person, maybe a handicap, that you are not the fastest mover, I'm going to give you all the empathy in the world, all right? I'm here to help you guys make it through your day, understanding how to make it easier for yourselves. But if it's your true choice is to try and make everyone as angry as possible because you as a 25-year-old individual hate your day so much that you're going to take it out on all of your customers, I am going to buy a ticket, especially when that ticket's free and all you got to do is walk up to that little thing and pull one of those tickets, and maybe I'm fucking with you. Maybe I take 6 or 7 of those tickets. I want to see what kind of fire we can start right in the middle of that Market Basket, guys. It's so fun interacting out there in the world. I mean, this used to drive me crazy. I see the people that it still drives crazy. You'll see someone there and they'll just be flabbergasted at how slow an individual can move. They'll start looking at their watch. They'll be going through their phone. They'll start getting other things inside the market. They'll go do the rest of their shopping. They'll come back. It still won't be their number. They'll put all of those things back. They'll drive to another market basket and they will get served faster than they would have at that deli counter. And that is just so impressive. That's what I'm here to watch. You can use your magic in any way you want. I don't know why these people choose to use their magic that way. But there's people like this all over the place. My buddy Patrick gets hung up on him. We talked about him earlier. Patrick the waiter, one of my best friends, who I don't see particularly eye to eye to on a lot of things. On a lot of the things in the world that are happening. There was a murder. Someone got murdered. That was something else that I saw going on in the news. I didn't see the video of a woman who I'm made to believe has something to do with protest and ICE because of a couple of videos that have been released. You see the way that I just did that there? I switched it. I was talking about one video being released, and then all of a sudden I talked about a couple of videos being released because there was another angle. Another angle came out, and it showed something different. I didn't watch the videos. I don't know what the second angle shows you, but guess what, guys? Have we not played this out before in the news? How many times do we got to cover these news stories? If it's rolling out like a soap opera, that's how you know it's constructed. It's a narrative. There's someone behind the scenes with puppet strings, and they're pulling them. And, oh, wow, how come we didn't see this one before? Oh, it was controlled. Yeah, that's what happened. It was controlled. Its release was controlled. And then somebody wanted to narrate some energetic explosion, so sure than shit, what comes next? Oh, you get to see that view now. And all the people that are losing their mind. My buddy, he texts me. He's like, did you see what happened? And No, I didn't see what happened. And then he tells me what happened. And we live in a new world, is what I keep hearing. Can you believe this time is different than all of the other times? There are giveaways. There's dead giveaways that I noticed, whether it's Patrick or anybody else. This is the first time something has happened. Okay, well, I don't believe that that's possible. I believe that these things have happened several times over. What state are we talking about here, guys? I'm trying to build a narrative. What was the timeline on this? What was the exact moment that this happened? Where? Oh, Minnesota. Oh, Minnesota has started riots before. Do you remember George Floyd? Do you remember the Summer of Love? Do you remember that whole lockdown time when we weren't allowed to go outside because we were supposed to be wearing masks? But then the news told us that masks weren't needed if we were going to be protesting because the virus does not infect people who are protesting. Guys, they filled our brains with this stuff. And then there were bricks magically in the streets in democratic cities across this country. And then all of a sudden rioters showed up. And then these bricks got smashed through windows. I know a lot of people in construction. In fact, I'm going to have another one of them on this program. He builds houses, and I'm going to ask him, hey, do you ever leave all your equipment outside at night, especially in the middle of the wintertime when you think that there might be riots and social unrest? Is that what you do? You leave all your stuff outside? No, I don't think so. I think you bring it with you. I think you lock it up. I think you maybe put it inside a work site, maybe inside a fence so that people don't come in and loot it because you are not a crazy person. The only person who would be leaving all that stuff outside is someone that was told to do so because their intentions are for not building a house with those bricks, all right? You can build a house with a hammer. You can also hit yourself in the dick with it a whole bunch of times. Maybe hit yourself in the head with it, and that's what they want you guys to do with it. So no, I'm not surprised when I see this. This isn't the first time that some social unrest has gone off. This isn't the first time a couple of camera angles have come out and set a bunch of people off. This isn't the first time that's happened. Now, he asked me, do you want to go to a protest? Why would I want to go to the protest? Is this the first protest that we've had gone on? No. What do we know about these protests? There was a big protest on January 7th in the Capitol in Washington, D.C. a few years ago. And the people that I would have known, I didn't know anybody there, but the people that I would have known, they would have been standing outside saying, hey, these are the ones that are feds. They're telling you to go inside. Don't go inside. They're trying to incite a riot. They're trying to get you guys to do some stuff to break the law, so now they have some excuse to come in and arrest all of you and all this fun stuff that's been going on. And just the other day, my brother sent me an Instagram, and it was a bunch of these people out at the protest, and somebody was Somebody was interviewing them with a camera in their face and a microphone, and they were saying, why are you so angry and violent about the thing that you're protesting right now? I don't know what the thing is, but you seem why don't you have a job? She said, I do have a job. I'm being paid right now to protest. Oh, that's the thing that we covered. That's why I don't want to go. There were lots of people on January 7th getting paid, but none of them were going to be you. The people they were trying to get there to protest, these are the same things. There's groups of people. I don't know how many times we have to uncover it. Jimmy Dore has uncovered it. Tim Pool's talked about it. I think even Patrick Bet-Value has talked about it on his program. People get paid, and we know this because of the cell phone data. It's the same people showing up to the same protests. It doesn't matter what they're protesting. Sometimes they're even protesting opposite sides of the issue that they were just protesting at the last one. That's because these are pay-to-play guys. We got people coming in from all around the world to our country, and everyone's looking for a job. The only people that aren't looking to destroy the country are the ones trying to build it back up. But if we don't share those social values with everyone inside the country, we're going to lead to some problems, all right? We got hypocrisy everywhere. We got a country that doesn't care about its own citizens, worried about what is happening in other countries in our hemisphere, Venezuela. And they're just taking their president, and they're just, I guess, taking over that country and all that oil and all those economics. I'm happy about it. Guys, sometimes you just got to roll with it. We got to call a spade a spade. Do you really want to get dragged into another Iraq or an Afghanistan? We trouts around the world like we are a superpower, and we ain't won a war in but a long time, guys. We lost all the last of them. I don't care if you're going back to Vietnam or you want to talk about Afghanistan and Iraq. We showed pictures of the army that we were building in the Afghanistans, and they were, going over the barrels. We had them doing drills in the backyard like they were trying out for the goddamn birds, all right? And then we just gave the whole country right back to them and the Taliban, the people that we were fighting. And now we have this, we had like a founding member of ISIS, and he came to the White House to shake the president's hand. Yeah, the president, the Donald Trump, the orange man with the hair and the blowing up the stuff in the Venezuela. He took the president, and guys, we're going to give China, right? We're going to give China Taiwan. That's what's happening next. That's what happens when we take Venezuela, China gets Taiwan. There's a huge game going on, and you guys may not be paying attention, but we were talking about the Al-Qaeda guy, right? The founding member of founding member of ISIS and Al-Qaeda. He was double dutch, all right? He was doubled up in that game. He's been fighting us for a long time, but if you're one of those people that comes from a place of scarcity, I don't want you to worry about this individual. He's on our team now. One of the generals was having a conversation, and they said, you really did put up a good fight there, but now he's on our team in Syria. Remember when we overthrew Syria? Guys, we've been up to a lot of things in the current events. I guess this is just the socio-political time that we're talking about. That's what section of the podcast this is. Do you remember we took over Syria and we installed a regime there? The guy that's the president there, now that regime, he was a founding member of the ISIS and the Al-Qaeda. Used to be our enemy, now our friend. The same way that the Afghanistan, remember in the 70s, the Osama bin Laden? He was like a friend of ours. We have to ship him weapons. That was back before FedEx and UPS would do that shit for us. We would ship them weapons to the Middle East so they would fight the Soviet Unions. And he was our boy. And thanks, dude. Thanks, Osama bin Laden, for all the stuff you did for the CIA and the NSA and the FBI, because that's supposed to be my country and my guys. And you fought off the bad guys at the time. And then, but what happened was, then we made you a bad guy. Do you see how quick we turn on our friends? It's an American thing. You got to understand, you're getting in the way of us and our money. What we wanted to do is we wanted to run the drug trade, especially marijuana. And we wanted to run that out of the Hindu Kush circle that you guys had there in Afghanistan. And we also wanted to take over the poppy fields, and we wanted to take over the heroin trade. So you got to be the bad guy, Osama. I'm sorry. Things were going well in Iraq, too, for that Saddam Hussein. I'm not saying things were perfect there. Nothing's perfect anywhere. Things aren't perfect for me here in the freest country in the world, the United States of America here. But still, it is what it is. There's costs and there's benefits, and I try and weigh those. And I guess so did the George W. Bush, the terrorist that we had who was a president. He was a president, not a terrorist, but he did kill millions and millions of people over there and disrupt any hope of having, I don't know, being able to go to school, maybe, in that country. He did disrupt anything that they had going on at the time. And the first thing we did was we went into their temples and their science centers, and I don't know what we took, their artifacts. It is pretty wild. I don't even know where I'm going to go. I don't even know where I'm about to go. But right now, I do not want to sell you any deodorant for your balls or anything else, really, at this moment. What I would like for you to do is go to MugsyTheCreator.com. You can find my Patreon link, which enables me to do this all for free, living off $12,000 a year in my paradise. But you can also follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and a whole host of other places. Let's see where I'm going to go with this one. How's he going to land that plane? Back to the episode. It's all interesting when you lay it out on a table and you just start looking at some of the facts that have gone on, because that we're all journalists now. Whether you like it or not, you're the editor of your own information coming in, and you have to be. And if you're not paying attention. You're being filled up with somebody else's bullshit. And the actions that you're taking based on what you know to be true in your head are already false, because you didn't edit the information coming in. So somebody filled you with some bullshit. And that's what had happened to me. You see, over the years, I got filled up with all the bullshit. But I didn't get angry about it. I didn't judge myself. I just tried to understand how exactly it was getting in there and which one of y'all is lying. And if you get caught lying to me, it's fine. You can keep lying. Now I know that you was the liar. So now when things come out of your mouth, I got to pay a little more attention to them. People think that even lying to me is going to hide the information, but it's not. I'm going to get what I want out of you. Because what you don't understand is the information that you're giving off as energy at all times. All right? It doesn't even have to be the question that I ask you. It can be the way that you walk to your car that lets me know that you like putting things in your butthole, in the backside, all right, on Tuesdays. Because I see you when you get into your Wednesday car after you getting out of work or going to the gym, all right? I'm watching everything. There is no lying that you can do to me. We are uncovering these things in real time for you guys, so that you can make better decisions on your own. So my buddy Patrick just seemed to get inflamed or set off by a couple of these things. And what I'm trying to instill in all of my buddies are, relax. Is this the first time it's happened? No. Is it affecting you right now? No. So there's nothing you can do about it than stop letting your energy get taken over. That's what they're doing. They're taking over. They're hijacking your energy so that your day goes in a certain way. But that's not what we're trying to do here. I don't even remember what the things were we were going to cover on this podcast. I had so much stuff to talk about. I don't know. There's a lot of current events going on in the world. I got to go. I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky that my wife has such an extensive family that I get to hang out with now. And there's been some adjustments, all right? Being a white heterosexual man, growing up during what would eventually be called the culture wars after 2008, I had to adjust the way that I interact with society based on the way that people looked at me. It was projections that were thrown onto me because of the propaganda that was out there in the world. The thing is, I didn't get all of the propaganda. I was not going to be watching the propaganda that was going out to females and blacks and Latinas and women, because I was watching the propaganda that was going out to men. I was watching men run into each other on a football field, or I was watching people dunk or hit home runs. I was watching those old mind-controlled tactics that they instilled in us many, many decades ago, which is how I missed all the stuff that was making me the enemy. So people definitely didn't want me even looking at their children for so long. But here I am, warmly welcomed into a new extended family. And now I get the chance to interact with human beings on a personal level, which is unbelievably healthy. I have to tell you, it's so healthy to have humans that you interact, whether you like them, don't like them, whether they're crazy, not crazy, it doesn't matter. We are pack animals meant to have discussions with people and support each other and get into conflict so that we can teach ourselves things. And being exposed as a 35-year-old man to children for the first time is so insightful. Now, I love kids. Not that way. Not what just went through your mind, but I love interacting with them. I love watching their little minds figure things out. And I like hanging out with them and playing them and tossing a ball or whatever. But not all parents want you to play with their kids, all right? And I'm not allowed within 200 feet of St. John's Preparatory School for Young Men for other reasons. But I am allowed within walking distance of these kids. And the parents, sometimes they'll let you know, yeah, go ahead, fuck around with him. He's going to punch you in the dick in about 6 seconds, and you're not going to enjoy playing with him very much anyways, but knock yourself out. And then there's other parents where you are expressly not allowed to even look in their direction because they have 2 sets of eyeballs on this one child at all time from each parent across the room. And if that child even looks like they're gonna, I don't know, not know where to put that little piece into the next puzzle, don't worry, mom and dad are there to swoop in and pick it up. I don't know how that's gonna work out in the future, this much hovering around the children. But the real issue for me comes not in either of these two. Those two are very easy. It's the third category that we overhear. It's the category where I don't know the parents. And we're now in a mixed setting. And what I have is a child who's throwing a ball at me. And I don't know if his parents want me to play with the kid or not. So the ball gets thrown, and I'll throw the ball back. Now we're fine here. We're fine. I'm not worried about anything. But if it's a little girl, and then all of a sudden she jumps onto your lap, and you don't know the parents, and if this is cool, that's when you just gotta stand up and be like, okay, that was fun, on to the next one. It's just awkward situations, and it's hilarious. It's also hilarious that the past decade, man, men and women are completely and totally different. And if you have ever seen children, you understand this completely. Sure, there's some weird ones. Sure, every kid's a little bit different. Everyone's touched by whatever. All humans are a little bit different. But boys and girls are completely separate for distinct reasons. Boys are psychopaths. They're going to run around and get all of their energy out. They are going to develop testosterone. And this is obvious from a young age. They want to get into things. They want to break them apart. They want to see how they work. They like things that are loud and can go bang. They like putting things together, trucks, trains, all of these things, airplanes. Girls, they like dolls, all right? They like putting on makeup. They like pretend. Let's pretend that we're going to have a tea party. They're different ways of interacting with the world because of the path that they're naturally set up for, because of the chemistry that's going on in their little brains and the little things that are developing inside their body. So for us to have been preaching the idea that there is no difference between men and women in this day and age, the Supreme Court refuses to answer the question of what a woman is. I don't understand how we're in anywhere other than Neverland. The whole system is designed to come to a grinding halt every time there's one individual killed. That's again how I know it's the propaganda. If you guys are freaking out over this one ICE protester that was killed, that's a one person. Guess how many people have died by the police since then? Way more than one. Not just the police. Let's extend this out there around the world. There's a big thing going on in the Middle East. And do you remember the war with the Ukraine that we're fighting the Russia? There's hundreds of thousands of people dying in that war needlessly every day. I don't understand why we're doing that. Zelensky's going to be dead soon. You heard it here first, and I'm not saying I'm coming after him. But there's just... these leaders get popped after. You can see the writing on the wall. We used to spend so much time on this program predicting the future of the current events and the things that were going on. But as I reflect now, I realize that whole first year was just for me. It was for me to go on the journey, guys. It's been so fun, these 100 episodes, 97 that we're up to now. But the journey is the journey for a reason. I'm a moron. I tell you that all the time. I'm stupid. I'm not that smart. I'm not very perceptive. It takes me a little while to pick up on things. But when I pick up on them, I tend to not let them down. Like a dog with a bone. Kind of like Candace Owens and her going after Macron's wife. All right, guys. I'm just not going to put some things down, and the consciousness is the thing that I'm not going to put down. We're going to continue to trudge our way through all of the current events and all the things that are going on until you can see clearly that you don't have to involve yourself with those. Your focus is whatever you need to put that focus on. If you want to put that focus on the current events that are going on for a year so you can predict the election cycle, you can. What do you think you're going to get out of that? Guess how many people now follow me because I correctly predicted the election cycle from January of 2020, whenever it was, 24, until the election in November. And a little bit after that. Nobody cared. Nobody follows me because of that. Because there's plenty of people doing that nobody cares or follows either. There's got to be something else that you're doing. You got to be doing something else with your time. Notice some other insights that we got going on in the world. Start talking about some of the conversations that are going on. And like I was saying before, you need to be the journalist. Here's how all these things start tying together. We take a little snippet of one event that you know almost nothing about, and we create that event into a massive snowball of energy, a golem, if you will, that breathe life into. People breathe life into by their focus and their attention and their energy. Someone tricked you into doing that. I know because I do the magic tricks out there on the street of Salem, Massachusetts. And they did that by only showing you one small aspect of a thing that's gone on. And what they are trying to do is distract all of your time and attention so that you won't pay attention to the fact that you actually have some power in this too. You have far more power than you would ever imagine. Even the thing that you talk about at the water cooler, whatever water cooler that is at your office, is the power of the conversation, and it instills in other people's minds what are the important things that you should be paying attention to, because they don't know everybody at the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times. So they see you reading it, and the things that you do in your daily life, they now associate all those things together. Now, if you turn out to be some sort of genius, you can be sure that those people will be looking at the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times a little bit differently, right? Like, oh man, maybe that's something I should be paying attention to. It looks like this guy just made $10 million off just picking up the New York Times every morning. Maybe there's information in there that I need. But that's not the case. No one that picks up the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times ever becomes informed. If you read the news, you're misinformed. If you avoid the news, you're uninformed. What are you to do? You are to learn how to read the energy in the room for yourself. Realize there's only a few tricks out there. Marketing is stealing your energy to try and take you down a certain path and get you to purchase something that you don't need and probably isn't good for you. Otherwise, they wouldn't be marketed. That's why I don't market this podcast. This is actually good for you. When you stumble upon it, if you don't think it's good for you, there's nothing I can do about that. But if you get stuck here paying attention to it for long enough, I promise good things will begin to happen to you. I've shown that. It's electromagnetic. All right, guys? I've pulled all of the guests that I have for my podcast into my life through my electromagnetic heart-mind coherence. That's exactly how it works. What I've clued in on, what I have earned by going on the journey that is the podcast, which was the reason that I started recording in the first place, is the wisdom that you get by actually going through and doing it. When I started this, I did an audio-only podcast in the year 2023, right? That is because I was a moron. I didn't understand exactly how the medium worked. I knew what was happening in the world, but I had no idea how to connect to an audience, or I was afraid to connect to an audience, right? That was actually what it was. It was my own fear inside me that made me not turn this camera on right away. Very quickly, by the 27th chapter, I realized that, oh, wait a minute, we got to hit record on this for the people so that they can come on the journey too, and they can see exactly what's going on here. And I did not know. I did not understand what it was going to be, that thing that kicked each level up to the next and the next and the next. And it started off with the Break Hard Consciousness Diaries. When you do when you don't have any idea what you should be doing, what do? I tried to put myself in the most coherent environment that I could find, so that the answers would become apparent to me by the patterns of just the things that I noticed with my eyeballs walking around. That's why I was always in the woods. And we put together the Breakheart Consciousness Diary, an incredible series on Instagram of my insights, thinking about things that came to mind after I was being grateful out there in those woods. And through that exploration, we found the coherence that we needed to slow down the pace, slow down the energy, the frequency, the vibration, find what the through line is going to be. That you're going to anchor this podcast to the current events, the culture, and the consciousness. And next thing you know, we started unwrapping the reality in real time, exploring other people's discussions, exploring some of the conversations that they were having, and overlaying our own insights onto those discussions as we learned how to build this podcast out in the way that other podcasts look. Still with some of our own little spins on certain things. But what was really happening the entire time was I was going on a mission to heal myself. I didn't understand what was happening, but I knew that I was time traveling. Then my friend, One Gold Energy, Catherine, she said, I see you doing your podcasts out there in the woods, and you're an energetic channel. I had never heard that before. Energetic channel? What's an energetic channel? We hopped onto her broadcast, and she explained exactly what it was I was doing. Well, now that I understood that I was channeling information, this unlocks so much more of the science as well as the consciousness for me to be able to go back in my own time and start to pick up all of the wisdom that was there for me, the fragments of myself that I had left isolated in my own lifetime, that I had led all the time up to this point. Going back to the little moments where you, in your own mind, forgot, blocked out the thing that was painful for you, that you have to go back and see so that you can heal yourself in that moment in the past, collect the shards of yourself that you left there and return even more whole with the wisdom that is necessary for you to continue on your journey, which is why we stop making the same mistakes that we do. Once we start to figure out the path, then we can put ourselves back together and we can start healing. And if you pay attention to the things that we're talking about over the course of the chapters that are the 96 episodes leading up to this particular one, you'll be able to see it very plainly. When there's something that I'm dealing with, whether it's with my wife or my family, or whether it's something professionally that's holding me back, or whether I'm just too afraid to goddamn walk into the Village Tavern and make all of my friends sit down and do an industry night with me. Because I earned that. I earned that through all of the conversations that I had with them. And they did not need to be as open and brave as they were to put themselves so selflessly on my broadcast and allow themselves to be seen in the light of the day, worried how they would come off to the audience at large. But the success is astounding. We turned that into a movie that we played, and at the Christmas party, we shut the whole damn restaurant down. The owner, he came in, got the whole thing catered, and everyone loved it because, of course, guys, what I'm here to do is make you the star. That's the weird thing about this podcast. I did the teaching in the episodes leading up to this point to show you how to go on your own journey, show you the steps that you would need to take if you like any of the things that I'm doing on this broadcast and you would like to have them for yourself. You can do that. All you got to do is pay attention to the stuff that I've already put out there for free for you. And now we just get to have the fun of enjoying all of the discussions that are out there. And then somewhere along the way, we realized if you can go backwards in time, right? All you got to do is go out to the future and take a look at the direction that you're heading and all of the things that are out there for you and start pulling those things into alignment. Thank you for the yesterday and thank you for the tomorrow. Because neither of those times exist. Please align my past and my future in this moment, this one here, the now. The only time that exists, because I don't know how many years I've truly been on this earth, right? I'm a moron. Maybe it's more, maybe it's less than 35. But the only time that I've ever lived in is the now. I've spent a lot of time worrying about the past, and I've spent a lot of time thinking about the future. But none of those things have ever got me anywhere but this moment right now. So if you're stuck in a moment, this is the one that you have to love. The universe is you inverse. When you love the thing in front of you, that's when all of a sudden it disappears. That's the weird thing about it. These are the tests that you have for yourself. These things that we build up, whether it's the job, the human, the interaction that you're afraid to have, whether with a loved one, a family member, a friend, a boss. That's the exact interaction that you have to have in order to get through this stage of your life to move on to the next one. I don't know why. This is the way that the journey works. All I know is that's how it works for each of us. To follow this little guiding light that we have inside of us, that little voice in your head. You know exactly which one I'm talking about. Perhaps it's one that you tried to silence long ago, which is why you've been able to separate yourself into shards every time something happened that upsets you. And you've been able to freeze other human beings out of your life without feeling the energy and the interaction and the exchange that you know that you need to have in order to get where you want to go with that individual. Or maybe it's helped you realize that there are some people that you have to cut out of this altogether because they're not helpful for you, because they're heading in a different direction. We all have choice in the directions that we want to head, and they have just as much choice as you to move in another direction without you. And that's, again, why I'm not afraid of the people that say they are exploring the darkness. I'm afraid of the people that say they have no darkness. We are nothing but yin and yang, all right, guys? We are energetically a little bit of everything. Denying that we are something is the scary part because it shuts us down to parts of who we are. That's how you begin to get into health trouble, because the energy in your body is not flowing because you are shutting down certain parts of your life, closing off certain aspects of your brain, which close off certain aspects of the organs in your body, and things stop working together. So maybe you need to add some exogenous things that are not homeopathic or natural to society. Start throwing chemicals in there. You start throwing chemicals in, then the machine and the mechanism doesn't work as efficiently as it could. And you find it hard to hear the voice and the direction, which is the most important part, right? It doesn't matter how fast you are. It matters what direction that you're moving in if you're trying to get to the place that you want to go. This podcast has really been a true journey in the exploration of these topics. I am excited for where we are going. I cannot believe the momentum it feels like we are carrying, the gravity as I move about the world. I cannot thank you guys enough, all of you, for tuning in. All the friends, the family, the patrons, the YouTube subscribers, all the people that hate me. What exactly is going on in the mind of that individual? I don't know the answer to that question. You guys sitting at home have the best vantage point to be able to tell whether I'm headed in a direction that's going to lead somewhere coherent, or whether I am the one that is actually creating the incoherence in my life that I'm riding as a volatile structure of energy, the highs and the lows, trying to make things entertaining for you guys at home on the program. I don't know what the answer is to that question. Only you are going to be able to tell me, but I think this was a fun podcast to talk almost about nothing and everything at the same time, reflect a little bit on where we've been. 2025 was truly amazing. Thank you so much to everyone that joined me on the podcast. 2026 is the year of the fire horse. I can feel it already astrologically. I can feel it pulling us in this direction that I don't know where we're going to end up. It's going to be live somewhere. I don't know if it's going to be a live show right here out of this studio. I don't know if it's going to be a live show somewhere else, more public, but things are coming and things are changing. I will get us back to a more regular format following the current events, the culture, and the consciousness as we actually explore some of those topics more wholeheartedly and dive into more of the specifics and the nitty-gritty of the things that are going on with some of the stuff that you're seeing on your television. We'll touch a little bit more onto the culture that will allow you to be more of the editor in your own mind, because these are very important times. What is happening is there are bits of information being recorded as news on the internet, and all of those poorly reported news stories are being fed into algorithms that are going to become the artificial intelligence that controls the way that you think in your mind. Because I know you're going to be too lazy to do all of the research on your own, because I myself am too lazy. They are training these algorithms, or these robots. Think about it like training the person who's going to do your job in the goddamn future. And they're training them on trash bag information that they have created on their own, which isn't tied to anything in reality, but they are going to be enforcing this reality on you. I promise you that. It's exactly the same way Twitter worked when they sent me a message and they said, we believe that you're a robot because you're doing robot things. So we've classified you as a robot. We're not going to show any of your information to anyone because now you're a robot. And there's no way to fight it. All right? There's no way to fight it. They tell you it outright. They tell you what they're going to do. They tell you exactly what's happening in this reality. It is your job to accept that or deny it and begin creating the universe that you want to live in. That is what I did when I created the universe according to Mugsy. I created my whole goddamn universe. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm talking to people in the past that have had trouble keeping up with me. I know you think, oh, no, he's not talking to anybody right now. You're being naive because you can't even begin to unwrap the concepts that I have spent decades integrating into my own reality. The information that's being dispersed and disseminated through me right now is being picked up on in ways that you could not even imagine. You, my friends, are in the past. I, right now, am in reality, and I'm in your future when you continue to tune into the universe according to Mugsy. Try and catch up to me in real time. Send me an email. Talk about some of the... Submit some questions to hear some things that you want to hear me talk about at MugsyTheCreator.com, where you can follow me on a whole host of platforms, from Patreon to Instagram to Twitter to Rumble to YouTube. I give out much of this broadcast for free. But if you want to become a part of the community and you want to be notified when we start doing these one-on-one discussions with, or not one-on-one, but small discussions with the Patreon community, which are coming right now in 2026. That is how you're going to be able to tune in. I don't have time to answer all your questions. Thank you to the thousands, tens of thousands of people that watched all the clips over the weekend and the past couple of weeks. Thank you so much. Hundreds of thousands of views is absolutely insane to look at in real time. I always wondered what that was going to be like, but that's all the past. I don't have time to reach out to all you guys. I don't have time to reach every one of your farms and come up and do a podcast with you. But shoot me some questions. I promise you we will have time to interact. It is my goal to help you guys create your own realities, and it is my goal to interact in some realities that I think are a hell of a lot more fun than the stuff I'm seeing outside my window and on my television right now every day. This country, your life, every day can be whatever it is you choose for it to be, but it's up to you to make that decision in your mind. And I know that you are capable of far more than what we have going on here. I love you. Take back your consciousness. And I'm out. If you want to find out where else you can listen to this broadcast and you're a human, you can go to MugsyTheCreator.com. If you're a robot, I got nothing for you. I mean, unless you can subscribe over here. Or you can click this playlist. If you're a robot, you can do that. That would definitely help. Like, subscribe, whatever you want. Thanks a lot, guys.